Cool. How's it going, everyone? Desi's here with another video in a bit of a different spot than usual. Not playing any games right now, not playing any EverQuest, especially Project Quarm at the moment. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. This is sort of gonna be a rambly video. I only have a specific theme that I want to talk about in this video, and that is the absence of something that you usually would put time into that is now gone, and so how your mind fills those gaps and those voids, and how that can relate to things outside of EverQuest or just like gaming or any other hobby. It's a very universal human thing, and that's something that I just want to talk about on this channel specifically. And it's something I tackled very minorly in my last video when I was talking about Project Quarm getting shut down. And I think that it's a good time to reflect and to do a little like check-in of where you're at in your life. And I think it's easy for myself, I'm just talking about myself here, but I think it's a universal human thing, is it's easy to fall into rhythms and just certain habits in somewhat of a compulsive manner without a lot of self-awareness. And that's something that I've definitely been trying to explore a lot about in my personal life, and just in practicing mindfulness and in trying to develop more of an awareness of my thinking and just the different thoughts that arise, and having somewhat of an awareness without attaching to them. I think the absence of Project Quarm has been a very beautiful experience to really realize those patterns, and I just wanted to share my own manner about Project Quarm getting shut down. And it's still shut down. It's hopefully not going to be shut down forever, as long as Daybreak and Secrets come to some sort of an agreement. And I'm optimistic that they will. I think that Project Quarm doesn't have a very negative impact on live EverQuest. I think the population of players on Quarm most likely weren't going to be playing EverQuest Live anyway, and they probably wouldn't be losing much money from shutting down Quarm, as well as the fact that Project Quarm is not a for-profit server. There's no systems to spend money to receive any sort of in-game currency or anything. But that's kind of besides the point about this video. That's something that just has to do with the mechanics of the game and the legal system and all of the stuff regarding that. And that's not what I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about more of the human side of it, and more of just our own behaviors and our own patterns and routines and passions in life. And for me, I make a lot of EverQuest videos. I play other games and I have other hobbies. I really like to read. I really like to create other forms of art. I like to do a lot of stuff outside of EverQuest, but I do really enjoy EverQuest, and I enjoy talking about it. And it's really cool to kind of cultivate a community around that sort of shared interest. And what I really want to do going forward with this channel is branch out to just different kinds of videos and different things that are more authentic to myself, because I just feel that EverQuest has been something that I've always loved and I always will love, but I've been feeling somewhat of a pull to make other stuff, so I'm probably gonna do that. And I think it's cool to talk about EverQuest, but within different contexts. And for me right now, Project Quarm being shut down, there's 1,000 of us who are definitely affected by that absence, because if we're playing EverQuest in some way and we chose Project Quarm as that main hub to play EverQuest, when that is erased and inaccessible, it creates a void of energy that we usually channel into a specific thing. And so when that is immediately digitally deleted, pretty much, we have all of this pent up energy that we usually channel, all of this like focus, concentration, commitment, goals, priorities in some ways, just an energy that we strive to put towards this thing, and it's deleted. It kind of creates a ripple of other channels for this energy to go. And I think that's an opportunity to see if the energy that usually went to this thing is going to like beneficial things for ourselves, or if it's going to negative things for ourselves. My first reaction when Project Quarm got deleted was I was pretty disappointed, because I was kind of getting close to level 60 and I was starting to do a little bit of raiding and trying, like, just having that sense of dopamine pleasure from having a sense of progression in a character, especially over a long-term set of time, because I've been playing on the server for about a year now. And so when that was deleted, I felt somewhat of a disappointment, but I also saw the silver lining, because I saw that Project Quarm definitely had a gravity in my mind about if I was doing something in my everyday life, there was always that small little figment of my mind, sometimes small, sometimes big, depending on the circumstance, about potentially progressing or just being a part of this community. The community of Project Quarm is absolutely amazing, and I always feel a sense of belonging when I'm playing on the server, and that's what kind of drew me into it. I think EverQuest is already a very wholesome game, but having a pocket emulated server that has a community that's even more tight-knit and positive it's crazy that that's even possible in this day and age on the internet and gaming in general, when it seems to be the contemporary mainstream games that are very popular, at least from a surface level, seem to have somewhat of a toxic environment within the communities. But I have rarely seen that arise in EverQuest, which is a big reason why I play the game still. And when that got deleted, as I said, I was pretty disappointed, and I kind of grew an obsession with the scope of the legality of this system, and just Daybreak going after like the Hero's Journey server, and just reading different Discord live chats, and just it kind of took up my attention, just not even playing the game at that point, but just the community aspects of it and people's reactions, and it kind of like a meme environment, just people kind of making jokes about it, and I found it fun to just engage in that, not even like put anything in the chat myself, but just reading Discord chat and just seeing updates. And I was kind of recognizing like instead of playing the game, the energy that I put playing the game, I'm just reading stuff about the absence of the game. So I thought that was an interesting thing that I noticed about myself. And also what I started to do was just try out different MMOs that I used to play, and trying to fill that same energetic void that the absence of Project Quarm had. And I played some Turtle WoW. I tried that out for a bit. I really liked it, but I didn't really attach too much to it. And right now I've been playing World of Warcraft on the retail servers. I've been playing a hardcore shaman character. So I might do a video about that, but I don't know, it's more of just a little side thing. I don't really think would be that interesting of content. And I've also been on like the Mists of Pandaria Classic pre-patch, so the energy has been diverted to another MMO. And I guess what I wanted to talk about in this video as well is like, I don't really think that I have to play another MMO in order to try to fill that vacuum. I think that if anything, that does a disservice to myself, because it's just kind of following an unconscious pattern of behavior, which I was already somewhat self-conscious about in playing EverQuest in general, and how time-consuming the game is and how much commitment it requires to actually get anywhere in the game. And so I was already feeling somewhat of an insecurity, or I don't know, somewhat of a negative sentiment in myself about that. And I think that's been kind of coming off in the content I've been making, because it's, in my opinion, it's been a little bit less intentional, more so rambly, and I think that's just a reflection of just my own feelings of the game and my own somewhat conflicts. And I think, for me at least, Project Quarm coming down has been a positive, a net positive, because it's really allowed me time to reflect more than I would have if the server was still running. And I want to just share my outlook on that, and if anyone resonates with that, I think it's something to talk about that has somewhat of a nuance, because it's a video game we love, a server that we love, and when it's deleted, I think it's easy to kind of just get negative about it and create a rift even further and try to put blame onto other things. But honestly, I think sometimes it's not so bad. I think it's just a really good opportunity to check in with ourselves, like I've been saying. And yeah, that's kind of just the main gist, what I wanted to talk about in this video. Just kind of a stream of consciousness. That's the content that I don't even like saying content. It just sounds like I'm just creating something to be mindlessly consumed. But I try to put somewhat of a intentional thought into the videos I make. Even when they're rambly, I try to make it somewhat of a thought out self-discussion that provides some sort of service or just a different perspective. I think that's all anyone can ever ask for when watching YouTube videos on the internet of random people talking about stuff, is just different perspectives. Doesn't have to be good or bad, but just different human perspectives of things that we share something in common with. That's always been my philosophy on this channel in creating things, and also just to self-express as well. So this is turning into somewhat of a meta video, just kind of talking outside of the EverQuest sphere, but that seems to be something that I naturally wanted to talk about, so that's kind of cool. And I wouldn't be making this video at all if Project Quarm was shut down, or somewhat of an introspective video talking about our relationship to video games, to MMOs. I think, for me at least, I've been playing MMOs pretty much my entire life, and there's a lot of good that has come out of it, and that's mostly what I talk about in my videos. Just being able to communicate better, being able to understand the differences between people, and collaboration, and expanding vocabulary, and just kind of learning numerical systems in different abstract ways, and being able to solve puzzles, and being able to commit to something that creates somewhat of a long-term reward that you can experience in a social environment. I think MMOs are really, really cool at being able to do that, but there's also a lot of negatives. It is a double-edged sword as well. Like, video game addiction is a very real thing, and it's very easy to get sucked into those virtual worlds, especially with technology and the internet being such an accelerated part of our culture. I think it's really important to have an honest, introspective look at our relationships to these kind of things, because I think it can lead to negative consequences for ourselves and our own well-being and our own life satisfaction when not really thought about. And yeah, I think it's just an important thing to just note. And one of the big EverQuest YouTubers out there, Ion Blaze, he made a video recently talking about his time playing on EverQuest 2 again, and near the end of that video, like, he was getting pretty vulnerable about his own experiences in EverQuest and how time-consuming they are, and how it can actually have somewhat of a negative impact on your life if not mindfully acted upon. And that's definitely something that I do not want to be afraid to be vulnerable about in myself, because I'll tell you, just growing up, EverQuest has always been a part of my life. Same with World of Warcraft. And these are very time-consuming games, and it's very easy to escape into them without having a large care for the external world around me. Just talking about just my own personal anecdote here. And I've definitely had periods in my life where I've really struggled to balance playing like an MMO or just video games in general with just things around me in the outside world, and trying to have deep relationships with people in real life, with my partner, with friends and family, and being active physically, and being mindful about nutrition, and trying to develop myself in other habits and hobbies and different ways to express myself, and trying to learn new skills, because MMOs are really good at allowing you to participate in them and still feel like you're achieving something and you are being rewarded. And I think that's a big reason why I personally play MMOs, is because it's very easy to fall into a trance-like state of productivity without really earning it. Because you are earning it in the game, and there's so many numerical systems that you really are able to see the inputs and outputs very specifically, and you're able to see that your effort is having an impact and a reward on yourself, and you can see that progression very clearly. And I think that's something that humans, we really strive to experience that progression. But in real life, there's not a lot of that that's that accessible and able to be perfectly numerically seen and witnessed, because just real life is confusing, and there's so many weird systems, and just it's very abstract. And I don't know, as a kid, I definitely gravitated towards video games more than just real everyday life, because it just made more sense to me on a rational level. And that's something that I gained an awareness of a long time ago, but I'm still work at in trying to integrate that balance. And for me at least, Project Quarm shutting down was just a good thing for me. And I saw that my mind wanted to go directly to new alternatives that are somewhat similar, like other MMOs, because they itch those same dopamine receptors that give me pleasure in those kind of numerical ways and through progression. And MMOs are so good at hijacking that part of your brain to give you pleasure for that kind of participation. And yeah, lately I've still been playing Hardcore Classic, and it's not like I'm done with MMOs now, but I just feel like I want to prioritize the balance a bit more. And yeah, I think this has just been a rambly video, but I really don't care. I'm probably just gonna post it anyways, because it's something I feel passionate about. And at the end of the day, I make these videos just to express myself. And I think it's easy for me to overthink things that I say and make public on just a public platform like YouTube. And I really do not want to compromise my own authenticity and my own vulnerability for creating stuff that, instead of just like creating things that I know will get views or will have a more positive response. I think I've seen in the past on my channel the videos that I know will get more views based on just the topic, or just I think mostly the topics. Like I could make videos on the hero's journey, or I don't know, just things that I know are more popular in the community, but I just don't really want to do that. and I want to just make videos talking about more psychological aspects of MMOs. And yeah, that's what I wanted to do in this video. So if you're still watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like the video, subscribe, or not. It doesn't really matter, but it's just about conveying my message and my sentiment. So fingers crossed that Project Quarm comes back on. Project Quarm's awesome, and I want it to come back online. But I think the fact that it is shut down right now doesn't have to be such a bad thing. And that is my message for today. So anyways, take care everyone. Have a great day. Peace.